What's up YouTube, it's your boy Barcode. I'm back with another video. Today is another video on my hard mode siege battle series. Today is chapter 11. They get harder and harder, but I can help you through it. If you like the content, you know what to do. Hit that sub button, hit the like button, hit that bell dingy thing so you know when I post a video. Let's get to it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, chapter 11, definitely hard. Hardest of them all. I think this is harder than chapter 12, but this is boundaries of life and death. So what happens is if the enemy applies it and they die, they do huge damage to your team. If they don't die, then they heal to completely full. There's a couple different ways you can take this, and I'm going to give you the safest route. But let's go over my team comp and let's go over the stages. Alright, stage 1 is definitely the easiest out of all of them because there's no cleanser and there's no immunity. I'm going to show you team comp that you can use. First of all, the key components here is Kun and Hathor. Not necessarily in this first stage, but when you get to stage 2, 3, 4, and 5, you're definitely going to want them. But you can use this team throughout the whole chapter. We got Colleen in the first spot. She's really there just to tank. Kun in the second spot. Camilla in the third spot. If you don't have a high level Camilla, just put your next tankiest person there. Maybe like an HP based monster like Rakan. Could be Ramagos, Kamoon, whatever the case may be. But I'm using Camilla because of Chloe. It's just a good 1-2 banger. Fourth spot I got my boy Ray. He's on Vamp. It actually stalls to get to the back line extremely. Chloe in the 5th, Hathor in the 6th, Diaz in the 7th, and Praylee in the 8th. So a couple things to note here. This is all about strategy. Using the right cards at the right time, seeing the debuffs on the other team, watching their health, and making sure to counter on the right cards. The spells are important. I use Synergy, Divine Protection. The third one, Spread Damage, is kind of my personal touch. You can really go with anything. Chain of Despair is really good when you use Hathor. Alright, so this first stage is just damage. I mean, they got Gen for the sustain, but that's pretty much it. So really, if you just play this right, they're always going to start out with their spell. Save up your mana. Make sure you always have Diaz in the beginning of the hand. When you get to 10 mana, hit Diaz after they use their spell. Heal up or protect yourself with shields, invincibility, whatever, until it falls off. They can't heal, then you damage. In my instance, you would kill the front line, then go to the back line. Stage 1's pretty easy, but when it gets into the other stages, you'll see why it's difficult. Alright, stage 2, Eleanor's in here now. So you have a cleanse, and that makes things a lot more difficult. But at least there's no immunity, and she is in the front line. So you can take Hathor out, put in a damage dealer, apply the heal block, freeze Eleanor with Kun, make sure their debuff falls off and you have a heal block on them. If you're going to kill an enemy, make sure to use Chloe or Divine Protection before their health depletes and die, so you don't get hit with big damage. Stage 3 is where it gets really tricky, especially the 3-star. You might be able to beat it, but 3-starring going forward gets a little bit harder for this chapter. We have McKean in the front line, and we have Eleanor in the back line. And this is why I tell you to bring Kun and Hathor. You start the match with a heal block off, let the auto attacks go off, make sure you have high mana so you can counter when you want. You have to know that the computer AI actually plays off of debuffs and saves their cleanses for when they have debuffs, so you can bait the cleanses. At least this McKean doesn't have immunity like stage 5 does. But you start the match with the Diaz after their spell, keep your mana up, wait till that debuff falls off, but always never waste mana, use some kind of spell. And then when that debuff calls off, you just go to town. Stage 4 again has McKean and Eleanor. McKean still does not have immunity in stage 4. As you can see in every stage though, there's a lot of AoE damage between Lucian and Camilla, and they do hit hard. Luckily in these first 4 stages, there's only Megan for an attack buff and not a Shannon with it as well, like in stage 5. Stage 5, which I'll show you here in just a minute, definitely by far the hardest. 8 level 17s for free to play. That's tough to beat, especially when there's 2 cleansers and 1 with immunity. They have armor break, they have ignore defense, they have brand, they have defense, they have attack buff. And the really difficult part is the Camilla Legendary Stone. There's one key component though. If you can't bring my team composition, the main key component I want to talk to you about, which a lot of people forget, The elements of the monster. If you're going to use some kind of different variation of this team comp right here, I highly suggest you bring a lot of fire in your front line. The Ritesh and the Hray combo hurts a ton. So if you can put like Colleen, Chloe in the 4th spot, bring in like a Fire Scarab if you have one high level, and then like a Rakan or something like that, it's a huge difference. It'll at least stall them to get to your back line. However, another important issue is definitely have some wind nukers on your team as well, because when you get to that back line, you have Shannon, McKean, Lucian, and Camilla. And the way the computer AI works is that Shannon is going to buff the defense 3 and attack 3 every single time. If you have too many debuffs, McKean will go, but then they'll just spam Lucian with an attack 3 and it hurts. I'm going to show you the strat that I used. It's a very slow-paced way to beat this, but it will work and it's the safest way. Let's get to it. Before I forget, these are my runes on the monsters. You can pause it here if you like. I don't use Pray Lead, so I have it on focus. I don't use Hathor, they're hand-me-down runes, but these are my runes in case you want to know. Alright, first and foremost, I want you to get a good starting hand no matter what. So if you don't have Diaz in your hand and some kind of other CC or support in your hand, like Hathor, Kuhn, Chloe, Colleen, then just go up to the cogwheel and hit retry until you get the right starting hand. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to auto attack, boost up my mana. I'm not using a card here yet. I'm just waiting for this mana. I got Hathor, Diaz, and Hray. I had 10 mana, so I'm going to use it. They don't have any debuffs or anything, so they're going to buff, so they can do damage. I'm at 9 mana. They're buffing to attack 3. I use Colleen just to survive a little bit, get an attack buff, which I don't really need. I'm going to sleep the back line regardless, so that they get slept, so they can't use any cards back there. So all I have to focus on is Eleanor in the front if I need to stun her. I'm going to go ahead and be aggressive here because I have 3 mana. I have enough mana to freeze if I need to. I'm just watching what he does. Their debuff falls off. He uses Lucian, so I Chloe. I do have Camilla, so I return that with Camilla. Kill the Megan. Hray and Colleen left. I want to apply another heal block, so I don't have to use Diaz, and it's only 3 mana. I'm waiting to see what they do. They use a defense buff. I use Pray Lee. Here's Ragnarok. I just save. I don't use anything. I don't use the Diaz or anything. I'm just waiting to see what he does. He uses Hray, so that kills his mana, and I kill Hray and Eleanor. And then this is the slow play. So I'm waiting and waiting to see if he uses Boundaries of Life. And he does. So he uses that. He buffs. I don't use any spells because all I'm doing is saving myself. Divine Protection against the Lucian. I still don't use any damage dealing or anything like that. I'm just waiting to see what he uses. He uses Shannon, so I use Hathor just to sleep or stun if I need to. I'm playing the auto attack game. I'm waiting for the last Boundaries of Life, which is right here. I have 27 seconds left, so I'm fine. They have heal block, all of them. I use Chloe again and block it 24 seconds, plenty of time. I'm just waiting. I use Hathor to sleep. Here we go. He gets the defense buff up. That's okay. I'm waiting for that buff to fall off, and that's when I go ahead and strike, get the defense break off, bring in Hray, do some damage, and then I'm going to Pray Lee again. At this point, my guys have enough health to survive. GG. And that's how you beat it. It's going to take you a couple times, maybe even 10 to 20. It's all about the RNG and the cards. If the debuffs land or not, it's random, but it's only a one-time thing. You only need to beat it once with 3 stars, and that's it. So have some patience, take your time, heal block, CC on the cleansers, big damage, be patient, and then blow them up at the end. If you like the content, you know what to do. Sub, like, dingity bell, and share. I'll see you in the next one.